Donald Trump's allies weren't alone in raising questions about the FBI's execution of that search warrant in Mar-a-Lago. Maryland Governor Larry Hogan, who has long been one of Trump's toughest critics within the party, also expressed concerns that the action could divide the country. Governor Hogan joins us now here in the studio. Governor, let me ask you, you are no friend of Donald Trump. That's why when I saw your statement, it really stood out. This is immediately following the search. You called for unprecedented transparency, and then you said that if the administration could not provide overwhelming evidence as a result of all this, quote, it would only undermine faith in democracy and the rule of law. So now, a few days later, we've seen the warrant's been unsealed. Garland has spoken to this. Is that enough?
Well, look, I still believe that transparency was and is critically important. And I was not one of the people that was just reacting, just defending Donald Trump. But I understood that without anyone understanding what this was about, that it was going to and could lead to even further division and angry rhetoric from both sides. And so I was happy that they did come out and unseal the documents on the search. And I think it was a step in the right direction, but I think we still have a lot of unanswered questions, and we're going to continue until people understand more. The one side is going to say that this is just politically motivated and weaponization of the Justice Department, but it's also very serious charges about very serious crimes. Not charges, but, that they're investigating, and they have probable cause to come after him for things that could be really important.
Yeah, when you look at that list of items taken, and again, it's a general list. First of all, so much of it's classified, but 27 boxes of material after what they had already turned over, 11 sets of classified documents, including this TS-SCI material. It does look serious.
Well, I mean, anytime you're being investigated for espionage and obstruction of justice, that's very serious. I mean,
especially if you happen to be a former president. I mean, this is unprecedented. How could they do this?
It's absolutely unprecedented.
Are you? How concerned are you about the national security implications of material at that high level of classification being at basically a club in Florida?
It's obviously a serious concern, and I think that's what we have to find out more information about. What are the documents, and what are the implications from a national security standpoint? On the one side, you could say, well, if the Justice Department, the FBI, and the federal judge believe that they should do it, then it must be pretty serious. On the other hand, in the absence of more transparency, people are going to continue to jump to conclusions.
And if you look at the way so many Republicans have responded, particularly House Republicans, I mean, you had, Marjorie Taylor Greene is now selling merchandise saying defund the FBI. Gosar with we must destroy the FBI, we must save America. And even Rick Scott, I mean, this is a member of the Republican leadership in the House, suggesting this is the Gestapo at work.
It's very concerning to me. It's outrageous rhetoric.
Your father was an FBI agent.
My father, my uncle, two of my cousins were FBI agents, and I work with them on an ongoing basis. State police work with them every single day. These are dedicated law enforcement officers. And, it reminds me, first we had the left talking about defunding the police and attacking police officers, and now we have the right saying defund these federal law enforcement officers, and it's absurd. And, it's dangerous because we saw the one incident already, but there are threats all over the place, and losing faith in our federal law enforcement officers and our justice system and is a really serious problem for the country.
And what about Kevin McCarthy? I mean, he may be the next Speaker of the House. I mean, to see him come out and actually we've been trying to get a response to him, and we haven't gotten any now that the warrant's been unsealed. But him talking about the weaponized politicization of the FBI, of the DOJ?
Well, again, it's kind of jumping to conclusions without any information, which I think was wrong. And that's why I was pushing for transparency. If, in fact, they do not have a serious case on serious, federal law violations and potential felonies, then it would be, certainly people will make the argument that they were, it was all political. Why didn't you do this for Hillary Clinton when she had confidential documents? Why aren't people being treated fairly? But this week's news is not going to be the same as next month's or next year's. There's a lot more that has to come out. I would say, this week it was actually a win for Donald Trump. It seemed to motivate his base and people rushing to his defense and feeling as if he was being picked upon and martyred. But I don't think, we've seen the end of the story yet.
Yeah, what do you make of that? We saw the House Republicans who visited him the day after the search, posting a photo, the thumbs up.
I'm not sure history is going to remember all of them fondly.
And you have on one of them in that picture, the guy on the right, Troy Nell, said that they should clear the field. Donald Trump's the guy. He should be the nominee in 2024.
Well, look, I think no man is above the law, but everybody's innocent until proven guilty. So we just have to see where this investigation leads.
And let me ask you quickly, as you were just in Iowa, you were at the Iowa State Fair. I want to ask you about the current president. You've been quite critical. You called him a failed president. And you've been critical of his handling of the economy. We've seen some good economic news over the past week or so. Inflation seems to be waning, or at least a halt in inflation. Gas prices below $4 a gallon. He's had a big legislative win. Do you see things turning around for Biden?
Well, I think the Biden and the Democrats have a monopoly. They're in charge of everything now. They have the House, the Senate, and the White House, and so
very narrow.
Yeah, so whatever happens, they are going to either get credit or get blamed. And I think it should be a pretty good year for Republicans unless we blow it.
But it's hard to call him a failed president when you look at this legislative achievements. I mean, you may disagree with the bills, but he's
gotten some things done, and he can point to that. We got a couple of things done, but whether they're actually good bills or not, and whether the Inflation Reduction Act actually, reduces or increases, is what we're going to have to find out.
Okay, so you, as I said, you were at the Iowa State Fair. You running for president?
Well, I know one thing. I was eating pork chops and fried food, and it was a great time. I got a chance to talk with voters. But I'm going to finish my term as governor of Maryland until next January and see, I'm out helping people in this November election all around the country. I've been to 10 or 12 states in the past few weeks. And it's really great to be out there.
That doesn't sound like a typical schedule for a governor of Maryland, unless he's got some other plans.
Well, I definitely am going to be a voice, and I'm going to try to do what I can to get my party back on track, because I want to win elections instead of lose elections.
Would you run as an independent?
That's not something I've ever considered, no. But I can tell you, I understand why all people are talking about that, because they're frustrated with both parties, and a majority of people are really kind of fed up with Democrats and Republicans and all this angry rhetoric and toxic, divisive politics.
So it doesn't sound like you're ruling it out. You just haven't.
No, I haven't given any thought to that.
Okay, Governor Hogan, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.